Fine. Yeah. So see, the thing is, one advantage we had in first unit is we have covered so many topics in plots with the syllabus of the second unit. Okay. If you're going to check out the syllabus of the second unit, is about functions. We are all done with it. And the second half is you have so many subtopics on plots. We are going to cover all the subtopics very simple. And if you're just going to watch this slide, you will understand. Like we have all seen those. Okay. So the first topic which I'm going to start is, it is called as line and marker options. That will be in your syllabus. It is called as line and marker. You'll be thinking, what is line and marker plot? Okay, just watch the description. It is line style, marker symbol and color. Okay, see the command. It is plot. We know what is this command, isn't it? We have done so many plots. So what they have done is they have kept this line and marker thing as a separate topic with respect to the syntax. So now I'll move the slides. You just give a watch. You'll know we have seen the slides already. Okay. See line command. Okay. The heading is this line and marker, and this line command in the first unit. But again, I'll share this in the second unit. Okay. So this line command is an example. So we have already seen this. We have seen this example. And we have seen this plot also. Hope you all remember this, figure 6.12. Okay, how to put multiple plots using line command. Okay, the next is style options. And also seeing about the style options, we had it in CT1 also. We have already worked on with the style options question. Okay, like plotting the different colors. Like, you know, this table. I asked you to study this table, isn't it? So the same thing is reflecting in the second unit. First unit, we have already covered much. So these things all comes under second unit. Okay, so we have seen this. So you know how to put a color, introduce a color. We had a question also in CT1, and you all done it fine. Okay, next is in your second unit, you have the 3D plots. And 3D plots already we have touched in first unit. So I'm just running through the slide, right? There are the commands, plot 3. Okay, we have seen this commands. This is for the plot 3 function, and this is for the bar graph, 3-dimensional bar graph. And this is for the horizontal bar graph. Okay, this is the horizontal bar. We have already seen this. And this is for the pie chart. Okay, and we have seen this pie chart and the stem function. Okay, so this is a stem function. And what else we haven't seen is in the first unit. In the second unit, in 3-dimensional plot, we haven't seen this mesh grid. Okay, it's a function called mesh grid. And what is the job of this mesh grid is, it transforms the domain specific by vectors into arrays. Okay, imagine the function is a vector. The question is a vector. What is the job of this mesh grid is, it will convert the vector into arrays. Okay, just watch this. This is the command, right? This is the command for mesh grid. This is the syntax. We'll just see an example. Just watch this example. Just watch this question. Create a mesh grid for the data. Okay, and when you use the mesh grid command, what happens is this vector data is being converted into a array data. Just watch here. This is the question. When we give the mesh grid, what happens? This is getting converted into, okay, that is the function of mesh grid. Okay, so this is one example. You can give a try. This is the output. And you would have studied something about mesh, okay, in your probably in your house wiring, those kind of stuff you would have studied. And there is something called as a mosquito mesh. We use it in our home, isn't it? It's nothing but a wireframe. It's a complex wireframe. That is called as a mesh. Okay, so the same name is utilized here for 3D. It is mesh. Okay, and just watch the I want you to create a mesh plot. This is the question. Just watch the question. Create a mesh plot for the function. This is the function over the command name is using the see what is the output. Okay, this is the output. Okay, I hope you're able to get the view. It looks like a mesh, isn't it? 3-dimensional view of a mesh. And the next topic you're going to see in the second unit is axis modes. And we have already seen this axis modes in the first unit itself. The axis control, the axis aspect ratio. Hope you all remember this. Okay, so we have already seen this in the first unit. And like we are developing an axis with respect to x-axis and y-axis, what we do is we have the command control through the code. and that is called as an access command. So this topic is again listed in second unit. I have just repasted those topics and I have just included in the second unit. Okay, so this is already we have seen. And the next topic in your second unit is, it is called as multi-plots in one figure. Okay, and with respect to this topic, what we have seen in first unit is, it is multiple plotting. Okay, the name multiple plotting is being given in the syllabus as, second unit syllabus as multi-plots in one figure. And you already know multiple plots, we can use three commands, that is using plot command, hold command, line command. We have already seen this using plots. Okay, so this is using plot, and you hope are able to see we can introduce multiple plots using the plot command, right? We have already seen this. And using hold command, okay, we already seen this. This is for holding the graph. Multiple plots using hold command, we already seen. And using line command, that is introducing line. Okay, so this is what we have just introduced a line. We have already seen this in the first unit. So one advantage is we already covered so many topics in first unit, and the next topic in second unit is, it is called as visualizing matrix. Okay, there'll be a small topic called as visualize. Okay, what is visualize? See, what is sparsity matrix? Most of the elements will be zero. You know about sparsity, isn't it? Sparsity matrix you have studied in maths. The meaning of sparsity matrix is most of the elements in the matrix will be zero. And the command for visualizing matrix is pi. Okay, the command which is used for visualizing matrix is pi. You can see the syntax here. It is pi s, and pi comma marker. Everything has a significance. What is the job of this pi s is, it plots the sparsity matrix pattern S. Okay, and what is the job of the second syntax, that is pi s comma line spec is, additionally specifies line spec to the marker. And the third, right? So this is all the commands which I put here is MATLAB commands. Okay, I've taken the screenshot from the MathWorks and I have used this. Okay, so you can check the syntax of SPI. Okay, SPI command is purely utilized for visualizing matrix, and the example is sparsity matrix. Okay, so this is about visualizing matrix. The next command you are going to see is something called as a color map. Okay, and this is the syntax of the color map. Okay, and we are going to see what is this color map. This is the syntax: color map within brackets, and color map target. Okay, each of the syntax has a meaning. What is the meaning is, just watch here. Color map sets the color map for the current figure to one of the predefined color maps. See, we have been doing lots of graphics in MATLAB. Okay, so if we set the color map for the figure, what will happen is the axis and the charts in the figure use the same color map. Okay, what you can do is you can take this commands in the MATLAB. Right now we are all working in the MATLAB tool, isn't it? So directly what you can do is, what all commands which I am sharing right now or later, you can take these commands and see how it is working in the MATLAB. Okay, so this color map function is to, I mean, if we give the color map for the figure, the axis and the charts on the figure will use the same color map. What is the function of this color map within brackets? It sets the color map for the current figure. Okay, so like this, each and every color map syntax will have a different significance. Okay, so what you can do is you can take this command and run it in your MATLAB and see how it is working. Okay, you can just read this, what are the significance of each and every syntax of color map. Okay, and the next is surface plots and surf plots. Okay, this all comes under three-dimensional plots, and the command is surf. Okay, what is the difference between surf and a mesh? Okay, surf function is similar to mesh function, with the difference that instead of wireframe plot, it is a surface plot. Okay, we have seen a mesh. Now we are going to see surf. What is the difference between this surf and meshes? In mesh, we have seen the output, it will be a wireframe plot, whereas when we use the surf command, it will be a surface plot, three-dimensional surface plot. Now we'll see the output, then you will understand what is the difference between the mesh and surf. Let's watch. They have just given the question: create a surface plot for the function with the interval, and this is the command we have seen, isn't it? Surf command. Now we'll see the output. Okay, are you able to get the difference? Just watch the surface, students. In the mesh, it was purely a mesh, whereas here it's like a surface, isn't it? So that is why this is called as a surface function. Okay, so this is the output which you will get when you run this three-dimensional command of surface. Okay, this is about surface, and still add-ons. In math works, how it is being given, the same thing. Surf x comma y comma z, surf z comma c. So all these commands are the syntax for surf plot. Okay, and each and everything has a significance. That is the description. When you give this surf x comma y comma z, it creates a three-dimensional surface plot. When you give this surf x comma y comma z comma c, it additionally specifies the surface color. When you give surf of z, it creates a surface plot and uses the column and row indices in z as x and y coordinates. Okay, so like this, for the different commands of surf has a different significance. Okay, so now I told the difference between surf and mesh. Okay, so this is about surf, and the next one is contour. Okay, what is the word contour? It's the shape of the outer surface. I'm not sure whether you've heard the word contour. If you heard the word contour, the meaning is it's just the shape of outer surface of something. Okay, it's like an image. See, when we are walking, we could just see our image in the sun, isn't it? It is not a clear image. It gives the shape, right? The same thing is for contour. There are two types of contour. One is called as contour and contour 3. Okay, so the contour 3 is the same contour except the contour are drawn at the corresponding z level. Okay, there is a difference between this contour and contour 3. Okay, when you take this contour, it is with the difference that x and y coordinates are being mentioned. Whereas when you take this contour 3, it is same as contour function except the contour are drawn at the corresponding z level. Okay, so that is the difference between this contour and contour 3. We will see this how it works. Okay, the question is create a contour 3D plot of the function. They are given the function, and then the question itself they are mentioned it is contour 3. We are not using contour a single function. We are using a contour 3-dimensional function. So just watch the syntax. It is contour 3 x y z. We'll see how the output is. Just watch. Are you able to see? It looks like just lines, just the shape. Okay, just the shape of some outer surface. So this is the output of the contour 3 plot. Okay, the function of the contour 3 plot. Okay, and the next command you are going to use is find. Okay, there is a command called find in MATLAB. What is the job of find is finds the indices and values of non-zero elements. Okay, whenever you use the command find in MATLAB, the job significance is it is helping out in finding out the values of indices and values of non-zero elements. Okay, so the description is being given here. Okay, just watch here. When it is k is equal to find x comma n, returns the first n indices corresponding to the non-zero. Like that, each and every find will have a significance. I want you to read this and implement it in the MATLAB. Okay, it will directly work in the MATLAB because it is being taken from the MATLAB work function. Okay, so this is about find. The next one is vectorization. You will see something called as vectorization. What is vectorization? Okay, just read this line. MATLAB is optimized for operations involving matrices and vectors. Okay, the process of revising loop-based, scalar-oriented code to use MATLAB is called vectorization. See, the meaning is, see, the biggest difference between your C language and MATLAB is, see, you can define lots of operations involving matrices and vectors, right? In C language, what we try to do is, when we use so many loops, obviously there will be memory consumption, isn't it? So you can go for vectorization. Once when you use vectorization, okay, so what could be the biggest advantage of MATLAB is it appears like a mathematical expression, making the code easier to understand. Number one, the code is made easier to understand. Number two, without loops, vectorization code is shorter. Okay, one big advantage. In C, we use loops, whereas in MATLAB, when we use the concept of vectorization, the loop concepts are getting reduced. Okay, so once when the loop concepts are getting reduced, obviously the performance will be faster, isn't it? Because the memory consumption will be reduced. Once when the memory consumption is reduced, what we do is we use only few lines of a code, isn't it? We are reducing the code. Instead of using loops, we are using vectorization. So the third point is performance. Vectorization code often runs much faster. Just watch this example. Vectorization code for general computing. This code computes the sine wave of 1001 values ranging from 0 to 10. Just watch this. This is a normal code which we write in probably a language. Maybe you can take the C language using for loop. But what we are doing is, just watch here, we are just not using the for loop, we are using the vectorization version of the same code. You're able to get the difference? Here just see the lines of the code. Here just see the lines of the code. Just watch out the intensity. Here the loop, obviously it will take a bit of time for execution. Whereas when we go for vectorization, obviously the time will go down. So that is why vectorization concept is one big advantage in MATLAB. Okay, so that is one big advantage of vectorization. The next is pre-allocation. Okay, pre-allocation is also similar to vectorization. And what do you mean by pre-allocation is for and while loops increase the size of data structure. Okay, it is a proved fact. Okay, you have been continuously using for and while loop. What happened is it is a part of data structure. You'll study about these subjects in depth when you come into your higher semesters. So this increases the complexity of the code. Okay, so because of that, what we have is we have an option called as pre-allocation. It is repeatedly resizing arrays. When you start resizing the arrays, obviously the blocks are being increased. So what we can do is we go for pre-allocation. So once when you go for a pre-allocation, the maximum amount of space required for the array is getting reduced. Okay, pre-allocation is mainly used for reducing the size of the arrays. Now we'll see an example. Just watch this example. The following code displays the amount of time needed to create a scalar variable. Okay, just watch this code. Tick is nothing but the time variable, right? And here the x is taking the value 0, and for k is taking this value, and x of k is taking this. Okay, so what we try to do is, see, here it takes a bit of time. Just see the difference between this statement and this statement. Okay, I hope you're able to see. We are clubbing this into a single x. Okay, this range, whatever is used here, we are clubbing it in the form of x, and just watch out the execution time of this loop and this loop. Okay, when this code is being run, the elapsed time is 0.301528 seconds. Okay, and when we use pre-allocation, when we use these values, when we run this code, just watch the elapsed time. It is 0.011938 seconds. Now you can understand which executes faster, either the first, either the second. It's obviously the second when we do a bit of pre-allocation. Okay, when we do a bit of pre-allocation, the code runs much faster. There is no need to repeated allocate memory. Here we are reallocating the memory, okay, again and again. Whereas here, what you're doing is initially we are pre-allocating. We need not reallocate. Once this code runs, you're able to see the time is also faster. Okay, so obviously these are the advantages of certain commands which we have in MATLAB. Okay, so that is one big advantage of having these things in MATLAB. Okay, so yeah, so this is the last slide of your unit 2. Okay, so I have been telling already, like unit 2 is a continuation of unit 1 plots. Okay, so that's why I thought I'll just wind off this unit 2, because already we have seen so many things in unit 1. Again, I have just shared those points in the slides of unit 2 also. I'll share this, okay, so that you can check out the syllabus and read accordingly and practice in MATLAB. Okay, once when you practice in MATLAB these commands, you will know how it is working. Okay, so this is entirely about unit 2. Again, I'm telling students, plot is one important topic of unit 2. Okay, if you see unit 2, one half you have the functions and the coding related to functions, and the other half, not the other half, it's a big, maybe I can tell 25% of second unit is related to functions, whereas 75% of second unit is related to plots. Okay, so plot, because see, why they are giving much significance on plots is, see, it comes with graphics, isn't it? See, when you can play with the tool when it has a lot of graphics. So what the curriculum helps you is, it helps you in allowing you to play with the tool and understand the graphics.